Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Core Studio. Welcome to the show. So, it's been quite the day. Well, first up, just from some personal things outside. It was recently just hailing after it was a thunderstorm, and before that it was snowing. Welcome to Minnesota. Why do people live here? Anyways, so this is a crazy day for Spoiler Season 2, not just Minnesota weather. This, I believe, is the final day of spoiler season. Correct me in the comments below if I'm wrong on that. But yeah, we've got some incredible spoilers, including Teshar and Moira. Teshar, no, Moira though. Oh, I mean, I actually had to look up Moira. No offense to anyone who plays Moira. I forgot it's a card. Regardless, yeah, Moira and Teshar fell to the dark side. They are Phyrexians. Teshar looks pretty sweet. Regardless, yeah, a pretty powerful commander. One that, there's definitely some potential with it. Here we go. 4/5 flying Phyrexian Spirit Bird, because that's the thing. That costs 3 white and a black. Whenever you cast a historic spell, return target non-land permanent from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Exile at the beginning of the next end step. If it would leave the battlefield, exile instead of putting it anywhere else. So, this, of course, is very reminiscent of Teshar, and I can't remember exactly what Moira does, but yeah, very reminiscent of Teshar. Whenever you're casting historic spells, old Teshar, before Teshar fell to the dark side, was like, hey, yeah, cast historic spells, sure, you know, artifacts, legendary sagas, those kinds of spells, and when you do so, I'll bring you back something small, you know, something with a converted mana cost of 3 or less, or whatnot. A creature with, I think that was how it was, right? Creature with converted mana cost 3 or less. Regardless, a very powerful effect, had a lot of combo potential, and yeah, this one takes it a step further, because it's like, oh yeah, just bring back anything, whatever, doesn't matter how big it is. Yeah, that giant thing over there costs 12 mana, perfect, get it back out of your graveyard, get into play. And I don't know what that is exactly, it costs 12 mana. There's plenty of things that we'll talk about here in a bit. But yeah, basically, you cast any historic spell. Again, artifacts, legendary sagas. Yeah, I'm personally not going to go Saga Tribal. You definitely can. Yeah, legendaries. Actually, with sagas, that'd be kind of interesting, too, because you can start using sagas to bring back sagas. Interesting. Regardless, yeah, so that might be a revenue. It might be an avenue. That's the word for it. Legendaries. So yeah, you could go legendary tribal, or if you're delinquent like me, well, artifacts, because they are so easy to use and abuse. And if you hear any of that crackling on the window, that is hail. I'm hearing it right now. I'm not sure if you're hearing it in the mic. Regardless, hey, yeah, let's just cast some really tiny artifacts, like some mana rocks even, and get back some massive things that we cheated into our graveyard somehow. Either milled it or tutored it into our graveyard. Yeah, there's a lot of gross things you can do with this. There's combo potential with it as well. Now, do keep in mind, this is going to get exiled at the beginning of the next end step, and it does have that pretty annoying clause, you know, yeah, okay, Wizards, we know you don't want us to break the thing, so, hey, if we leave the battlefield, it gets exiled, so you can't just be like, hey, it's here, then I bounce it back to my hand, and it's not going back to my graveyard, ha 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 ha, or, I mean, or not getting exiled, or you can sacrifice it, but yeah, no, if it's going to leave anywhere, it's going to go away. That being said, there is one way around that, and we'll talk about that here in a bit as well, but yeah, this commander, I think, has a lot of potential. And as sad as I am about Teshar, and sure, Moira, I'm sorry, I don't really remember you. My bad. About getting Phyrexianized, yeah, this is a powerful new commander, one that is really exciting. I think a lot of players are going to be excited about it too. On episodes like these, on the quick takes, I'm going to take you through budget buys. Cards are within my budget, which are cards that are less than $1. I'm also going to take you through the pricier picks, cards that are outside of my budget, cards that are more than $1. Of course, all these cards are going to be in a link in the description below. Make sure you check that out. And yeah, if you're interested in this commander, make sure you pick up some of those cards, or consider picking up some of those cards sooner rather than later, because yeah, when a new exciting commander like this one is spoiled, sometimes cards that work well with it tend to go up in price, or can go up in price, I should say. But now with all that said, let's jump into the budget buys. And yeah, there's a lot of great cards to consider. And again, because I am just a delinquent who absolutely loves using and abusing artifacts, yeah, Ancestral Statue. This derpy golem is a 3/4 for 4 mana. Terrible, gross, awful. But you know what you can do with it? You can keep playing it again and again and again, which is somehow a good thing. Because again, this is magic, and you're like, Yeah, hey, it has enters the battlefield, return a non-land permanent you control to its owner's hand. Oh, I can choose this because it doesn't say another. I'm just going to keep having it return itself again and again and again and again back to my hand. Basically, pay 4 mana, reanimate something out of your graveyard. Yeah, that's pretty good, especially in combination with certain other cards that maybe make it so that we don't have to pay nearly as much, you know, like, we're not there yet. Never mind, I'm off on my slides. Workshop Assistant. Let's go with that first. A 1/2 construct for 3 mana. When it dies, turn another target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. So you can have other artifacts like this that can kind of loop each other, essentially. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, this one died. I'll go get another one that basically is the exact same thing. You can have a way to sacrifice them, so you're just casting, again, artifact after artifact after artifact. So you can, again, utilize them as historic spells, and the new Teshar and Moira, I guess, consider that and like, hey, yeah, that tiny little artifact that you cast, cool. You did a great job, good for you. Pick anything out of the prize bin, basically. You know, any card out of your graveyard that's a non-land, go get it back. So again, that massive card that cost 12, get it right back into play. You played a little 3 mana 1/2, and you get something giant. There's a lot of potential with this kind of a commander. Scrap Trawler. Hey, a 3/2 construct that says, let me raise the stakes a little bit on that Death Trigger thing. Hey, whenever it or another artifact you control spin a graveyard from the battlefield, return it to your hand target artifact card in your graveyard with a lesser mana value. So again, even if you have smaller and smaller kind of artifacts dying, or, you know, the big ones dying, you get the smaller ones, you can just kind of loop these again to just essentially kind of ensure that you're going to be able to get more and more value out of your graveyard by just getting more and more artifacts cast into play. Yeah, so just have fun with that. Oh my goodness. Okay, now we're getting to the point that I thought we were getting to earlier, which you are not until now. Foundry Inspector. A great card, and again, why I'm a delinquent with these kinds of artifact synergies, because the amount of synergies that you can have with artifacts is gross, is broken, is crazy. Foundry Inspector, very simple. 3/2 construct, again for 3 mana. Artifact spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. So all your artifacts now are cheaper, and again, some of them are going to be free, and you can just basically be like, oh yeah, hey, I got that giant creature in my graveyard. I'll just play this little tiny soul ring for free. Cool! I cast a historic spell. I did it. Yay, I didn't pay any mana for it, but I cast it. I did it. I did such a good thing. Get giant creature out of graveyard. Get it right into play. Gross. Yeah, I mean, again, the potential for this kind of commander is just kind of absurd, and I am so happy to say that Humble Awakening is finally budget-friendly again. Thank you, Dominaria Remaster. I think that was what this was reprinted in. Regardless, artifact for 2 spells cost 1 less to cast. Yes, this does impact your opponents. Yes, this can help them as well, but when you're doing... Again, I keep saying delinquent, but I think I more so mean degenerate is more so what I mean. When you're doing degenerate artifact things, and you're just like, yeah, let's reduce the cost of everything by 1. And then you have other things that reduce the cost, and other things that reduce the cost, and then you're like, you know what, Ancestral Statue, you cost 4. Let me tally this up. Oh, I've got 4 cost reducers in play. You cost nothing. I can just cast you as many times as I want, infinitely, essentially, getting everything out of my graveyard, except for lands, into play, and just, yeah, having a grand old time. And if you've got any other, you know, ETB triggers or Leave the Battlefield triggers, you win, probably. But yeah, that is the kind of degenerate kind of play that I really, well, I will say, I do like building them, and sometimes, yeah, they're not the most fun for other people to play against, because Artifact Storm might not be what other people want to play against, but with this kind of a commander, you can finish players off quite quickly, and you're not probably really going to be more so storming, but more so just getting everything out of your graveyard and attacking your opponents most likely, or maybe comboing off. Regardless, next up, Metalwork Colossus. Oh my goodness, I love this card. First up, it is a 10/10 construct for 11 mana, but you're never going to pay that. In fact, with this kind of a deck, you're probably going to pay 0. You're probably going to play 0 mana. It's going to cost X less cast for a total convert mana cost of non-creature artifacts you control. Again, like I've demonstrated, yeah, if you're going to go the artifact direction, you're going to have a lot of non-creature artifacts, a ton of them, an absurd amount, to the point where this is going to cost nothing. You cast it, and then again, you get to cheat out something else from your graveyard into play. On top of that, when this is in your graveyard, it is a sacrifice outlet for you for artifacts, which again is great with those kinds of Workshop Assistant, you know, Scrap Trawler cards, and sacrifice your artifacts, return from your graveyard to your hand, so bring it back to your hand. Cool. Recast it. Maybe sacrifice it. Maybe it just dies for wrath or something like that. Keep bringing it back, keep sacrificing it, or keep, you know, sacrificing other things. This is a lot of value for you, and again, it is something that on top of that, it's a 10/10 for free, basically. So yeah, you can utilize this as a big threat against your opponents too. Next up, Umbilicus. Yet another artifact to consider. Yet another great, juicy artifact to consider. That costs 4 mana. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, the player may pay 2 life. If they don't, they return a permanent they control to its owner's hand. Thank you, Dominator Remaster, for this reprint as well. This thing used to be budget friendly a long time ago, and then yeah, again, thank you for the reprint. Yeah, hey, some players don't want to bounce their permanents back to their hands, so they're gonna pay the 2 life, and you're gonna be like, yep, I won't pay the 2 life because I definitely don't want to lose that life. I guess I'll just bounce this artifact back to mine and recast it to get something out of my graveyard. Yeah, this can provide you a lot of value throughout the game. Again, basically every turn, bounce something that you want to have bounced anyways to recast it to get something out of your graveyard. Absolutely fantastic. Moving on, fill your graveyard. Yep, there's plenty of ways to fill your graveyard, and yes, with artifacts like Perpetual Timepiece. Hey, tap mill 2. Very simple, very effective. Again, this is a 2 mana, again, essentially reanimation spell, and with our commander again, reanimate. I keep saying reanimate, but it's like bring anything back that's not land. So you could get back an enchantment, artifact, planeswalker, etc. Yeah, basically, get something out of your graveyard for 2 mana because you just played this. Good job. Teshar's like, good job. And Moira's like, I'm here too. Tap mill 2 though. So yeah, again, you can just keep milling yourself again and again and again throughout the game. This can mill you a ton. There's of course other milling effects as well that can mill you even more. But yeah, low to the ground cards like this can provide you a massive impact. And once it can fill your graveyard, can give you a lot of options for things to cheat back out into play, which is just great. Speaking of which, Auric Lore Mage. Let's get a bit more specific on what we want to cheat out. Incredibly specific, in fact. A 3/3 Human Warlock. First up, sorry, Teshar and Moira. It is not legendary, so you don't get the trigger, and it's not artifact, it's not a saga, so I'm sorry. But I'll make it up to you, okay? All right, Teshar, I'm going to make it up to you. Tap, search alive for a card, put your graveyard, then shuffle. If it's instant sorcery, which it's not going to be, get a counter on Auric Lore Mage. Yeah, you're not going to get instant sorcery most likely with this. You're going to be like, what's that giant thing in my deck that I want to go get that I can cheat out into play, again, just by playing a simple artifact? Yeah, let's get that into play. Or get it in my graveyard, then get it into play from there. And then next turn being like, yeah, let's do that again. And again, because again, this is a repeatable effect. And of course, like I mentioned before, yeah, there's definitely some combo potential with this commander. And hey, basically, with a 2-card combo, you tap this once, get the card. Tap this a second time on the next turn. Go get the other card. They're both in your graveyard. Play 2 artifacts. Probably game. Probably game. So yeah, definitely a good card for a commander like this. Or yeah, if you want to go like the creature route, and you want to be like, yeah, I just want some big heavy hitters that can just dominate my opponents, and especially ones that have huge ETBs. Definitely consider ones like that because, well, Spook Primordial. Let's just give this example. 5/4 Intimidate. That's nice. You can swing with it right away. It's hasty, so you can probably get thrown a player. When it enters the battlefield for each opponent, you may put up to 1 target creature card from that player's graveyard on the battlefield under your control. Again, the value that you're getting out of these cards, unless you're finishing the game right then and there, are temporary. It's temporary value because you're going to be exiling it at the end of the turn. And if it leaves anywhere, you're going to be exiling it. Those things that you cheat out into play, they're going to go away. But the value that you might get with them can stay. Like this. Again, ETB. Go get 3 creatures out of your opponent's graveyards. Great. You basically just stole 3 creatures for, again, what might be no mana, because you essentially got it in your graveyard, and then you're like, oh, again, I've got a cost reducer, Soul Ring, yeah, free, get this out of play. Cool, stole 3 creatures. Yeah, there's a lot of really big plays. There's a lot of really big things you can cheat out into play, and again, make sure you're considering cards like this. Now, though, let's get to the pricier picks, because, yep, there's some crazy things that you can do with this commander. Including, of course, the first card that came to my mind when I saw this is Sundial of the Infinite. Hey, this card, when you first see it, if you're like a new player or you know, if you haven't played Magic in a long time or whatever, and you're like, oh, why would anyone ever play that? And this is definitely the kind of card where you're like, oh, this can break so many things, which is lovely. Once you kind of get going and you're like, yeah, this is awesome. Pay 1 tap and the turn activate it only during your turn. Again, you're like, why would I ever play that? Again, younger me was like, why are fetch lands good? I don't want to lose life. I'm just going to play a plains instead. Regardless, these days, yeah, I mean, I understand they're good, okay? Also understand that this is good because it's like, you know how it goes on the stack, it says exile beginning of the next end step, that part of the commander where, you know, like you cheat something to play, exile the end step. Okay, so that's going to go on the stack, and then you're going to be like, well, you know, I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to pay 1 mana. I'm going to tap end the turn. What's going to happen with that is it exiles all spells and abilities on the stack. So those go away. They do not happen. And you get to keep those things that you cheated into play. So again, you're playing artifact after artifact or artifact, getting giant things out of your graveyard. Then end of your turn, you're like, I'm keeping those. And by the way, also, again, Sundial the Infinite, also a historic spell. It's an artifact, so cheat things into play with it too. Gross. Yeah, if you have a deck with this card in it, you might want to find some ways to tutor for it. Moving on, Mirror Retriever. Yep, a 1/1 mirror. When it dies, return another target artifact from your grave to your hand. Again, there's more efficient ways to do this at a price your pick. I don't know why this one's I mean, it's a very good card, yes, but Wizards reprint it some more, please. It's a very good card. It's like Workshop Assistant, just 1 mana less. I guess 1 toughness less too, but who cares about the toughness, okay? So yeah, a lot of ways to, again, really use and abuse. Again, getting artifacts kind of in a loop, essentially, to get things out of your graveyard. Speaking of looping, remember the Ancestral Statue I talked about earlier and how you kind of want to get that in your hand at some point, and cost reducing of 4 total? Semblance will get you halfway there. Enters the battlefield, you can exile an online card from your hand. It's going to be an artifact. And then spells you cast share a card type with it, cost you less to cast. This is a massive way to reduce the cost of your artifacts. We're making a lot of them free, some of them a mess, reduced cost. And again, in combination with other effects, yeah, again, even you can get to that, -4, that great number, -4 for Ancestral Statue, to just be like, I've got 30 things in my graveyard I'd like to get out this turn. Free. Yep. You can have some really fun plays when you get cost reducers in play. At least for you, again. You might want to ask your friends if they're okay with semi-artifact storm, I would say, and probably combo with this kind of a commander. So yeah, make sure you ask first. Speaking of a thing that you want to cheat into play, or just get into play because you're probably going to be able to play this for very cheap. Mycosynth Golem, a 4/5 Golem. Just a 4/5 for 11 mana. That's quite steep. But it does have affinity for artifacts, means it's going to cost 1 less for every single artifact you control. So this can cost a lot less, even free in many circumstances for this deck. And on top of that, there's a tiny piece of other text here. Artifact creature spells you play have affinity for artifacts. So, hey, you're going to be running a good amount of artifact creatures in this deck if you're going artifacts like I am. And yeah, now they're probably all free. All of them are free, including Ancestral Statue. I keep bringing up that card because it is awesome and janky and terrible and great with a commander like this. But yeah, a great card to consider. Buried Alive. Yep. Hey, again, if you're going to go with big creature out, essentially, to cheat into play, great. Pay 3 mana with this. Go, you know what? Go in your library and go pick out your 3 favorite things. Cool. Put them in your graveyard. Get them into play by playing simple artifacts, maybe even for free. Yep, pretty gross. So yeah, again, keep in mind though, this only tutors for creatures, but again, 3 mana for 3 creatures that you can just set yourself up with, then yeah, again, there are probably some combo creatures that you can go get or whatnot to make sure you're set up for that way. Definitely a thing to consider for that. Next up though, Entomb is a bit more specific. For a single mana, an instant, go get any 1 card in your library, put in your graveyard, then shuffle. This one, again, can go get you anything you need. Again, your commander does not limit you to creatures coming out of your graveyard. Your commander is like, now I'm evil Teshar, and I talk like this for some reason. And yes, any non-land permanent, and yes. Okay, so you can go tutor out anything, including, again, combo pieces, which might not be creatures. Like, Basalt Moth. Basalt Moth is a great card for this commander. Again, basically, it is kind of like a free spell in a way, first up. It's a 3 mana artifact that can tap for 3. So basically, you get your mana back. So again, if your commander's in play, you just play this and you're like, cool, I'll get whatever this giant thing out of my graveyard into play for free. And you're like, also I can tap this for 3 mana to play something else. So again, it's basically free. On top of that, it has pay 3, untap it. It also does say, doesn't untap during untap step. Ignore that. Who cares about that? What we care about, again, is that it has pay 3, untap it, which has a lot of combo potential because, well, there's a couple things that combo with it, like, Rings of Brighthearth. So, hey, get this into play. Get Basalt Moth into play. Again, very easily. If you mill them into your graveyard, if you tutor them in your graveyard with Entomb, if you just simply happen to draw them, you play them, you win. Don't win. Okay, you don't win. You get infinite mana. Let me explain this one really quick. Whenever you activate an ability, if it is a mana ability, you can pay 2. If you do copy that ability, choose targets for the copy. Now, yes, Basalt Moth has a mana ability. You are not copying that. What you are copying is the untap. Again, that untap usually costs 3, but with this, you're essentially paying 2 for a copy of that untap. So you essentially net 1 mana on that. So basically, you generate infinite colorless mana, and yeah, there's plenty of ways to win from there, including, yet again, Ancestral Statue, essentially infinitely casting, and probably having other things to do with it. Anyways. So that is another one. Forsaken Monument's another one too. There's quite a few ways to combo with, Basalt Moth. And on top of that, when you are using combos that involve artifacts, it's already just very synergistic with your deck because, hey, if you don't have the combo and you have the artifact in your hand, you can just play it to go get something else out. And these combo pieces that can actually get each other out too, which is just kind of fun. Next up, Exquisite Blood. Yep, you can even do this kind of a combo with this commander as well, because again, you can cheat out anything out of your graveyard, even an enchantment. Hey, whenever an opponent loses life, you gain that much life. That's already a good card for a commander. Again, players are going to be losing life. You're playing against 3 opponents. They're bound to lose life. You can gain life. You might not want to get this out, though, before you get the other combo piece, because, yeah, it's kind of a card that has a big target on its back. Sanguine Bond, another great card, though. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. This is the combo between these two. Basically, get these two into play, you gain any life, or you have any other player lose any life, and you infinitely drain all of your opponents, essentially, because you're going to be like, okay, that player lost life. I gained that much life. All right, they lost 1 life. Sure, I gained 1 life. Cool. And then Sanguine Bond's like, oh, hey, you gained life. You want to make someone lose life? And you're like, yes. And then it keeps going again and again and again. So you just drain out all of your opponents. Yeah, you do need a way to get through, but again, your commander kind of has flying, and typically that's going to be able to get through at least one opponent, or you might have a way to gain life, or, you know, a way to have an opponent lose life. Regardless, you got ways to win. You can combo with this commander. If you really want to go the combo direction, and your, you know, play group's okay with it, or if those of your OGS are okay with it, go for it. Or, you know, just big creatures, like, you know, It That Betrays, which is a very friendly creature that everyone loves. 11/11 Eldrazi, Annihilator 2. Costs 12 mana. In this deck, again, basically free, because you're just going to get in your graveyard somehow. You know, I guess I should have mentioned discard is another thing you might want to consider as well. Ways to discard creatures or, you know, big things. Yeah, discarding, milling, tutoring in your graveyard, whatever you do, just play, again, your simple artifact. Again, your Soul Ring, for free probably, and then you're like, cool, I get out If That Betrays. And your friends are like, gross. And then it gets haste again, so you can swing with it right away. Annihilator 2, your opponent sacrificed that you attacked 2 things. And then also, hey, those things that you did sacrifice, well, whenever opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent, you get that card on the battlefield under your control. So, gimme. So again, you're basically cheating something into play to cheat things, and not cheating things into play, but steal things. So, yeah, opponents are going to be big fans of this strategy. But yeah, overall, again, very sad that Teshar has fallen to the dark side, and Moira too, I guess. I'm sorry, Moira. Moira? I'm sorry. I don't really remember you all that much. Regardless, a very powerful new commander. My goodness, that ability was turned up to 11, essentially. Like, you know, old Teshar's like, yeah, I'll get back certain creatures that are small. And this one's like, give me everything, but temporarily, but everything, but not temporarily, if Sundial Infinite's in play. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, overall, an interesting commander. I think a lot of players are going to be excited about it. If you are one of those players, check out that card list link in the description below again. Consider picking up some of those cards sooner rather than later, because again, when a new exciting, powerful commander like this one is spoiled, sometimes cards go up in price that work well with it. And yeah, make sure you check out my most recent episode on Shalai and Halar. Yeah, these they're not partner commanders, like team-ups. Let's say team-up commanders are really interesting. And this one is incredibly powerful. Oh my goodness, when I first read it, I was like, I have to be reading this wrong, number one. It can't be this easy to be this powerful, and yeah, it's a 4-mana creature. So make sure you check that one out at some point. Comment below with your thoughts on this brand new commander, though. Yeah, make sure you're staying tuned for more quick takes, even more quick takes and spoilers and updates on Minnesota weather. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.